welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to do a tutorial on modified right angle weave. Modified right angle weave is just a little bit more streamlined than right angle weave. I still love both of the stitches, but I made this bracelet using light bronze beads and teal bicones in 3 and 4 millimeter with an extender chain. And I put a little charm on the extender chain, and it's got a lobsterclaw clasp. So if that's something you'd like to see, please hit the like button, come back, and we'll get started. For this bracelet, you're gonna need a size 4 millimeter bead. I'm using some I had from my stash. These are 4 millimeter pearls. And then we're gonna need some 3 millimeter bicones, some 4 millimeter bicones, some 15-0 seed beads, and then I have an extension chain and two jump rings and a lobster claw clasp and a little charm there. You will also need just a couple 11-0s. So go ahead, get your materials together, thread your needle with a comfortable amount of thread, and we will get started. So I've threaded a wingspan of, I'm using 8-pound crystal Fireline. You could probably use 6-pound. I am using a size 11 beading needle. You could probably also use 10. Use what you have. And I have put on my needle 4 of the 4 millimeter pearls that I'm using. And I'm not using a stop bead because I'm gonna drop these down and sew them into a circle right away. Going through that first bead like that. And this is what you have. You've got your first unit. This is my tail thread. I'm just gonna sew through all of them again to tighten them up. Okay, so I've sewn around till I'm coming out of this bead here, and I'm going to pick up one of my 3 millimeter bicones and 3 of my 4 millimeter pearls. Oh, this is what I have on my needle. And I'm coming out of this side of this bead here. I'm going to take my needle and go through the top of this bead right here. So the side of the first unit. And this is what I have. And you have to keep your tension tight, but not super tight. So I'm coming out of this bead here. I'm gonna skip this bicone and sew right into the next bead. This is what you should have. gonna just keep doing that. I'm gonna pick up another 3mm, and then 3. These holes are a little bit clogged on these pearls, but I'll make it work. 2, 3. So I've got the 3mm and then the 3 4mm. I'm coming out of the side of this bead. I'm going to go through the top of this bead here, like that, and then pull. And you're going to skip this 3mm and sew into that next 4mm. Give it a tug. And that's what you have so far. And that's basically what you're going to do through the entire length of your bracelet. You're going to pick up a 3mm, 3 4mm, coming out of here. I'm going to go through the top. Then you're going to skip that 3mm and sew right in through that next 4mm. Then pull tight. So we're going to do that all the way to the length. I'll do a few more. Then once we get to the length, I will add one of the clasp sides on, and then we'll go down the other side and embellish the other side with the 3mm bicones. Coming out of this bead, the side here, I'm gonna go in through the top. And pull. Skipping this 3mm and going directly over to the next 4mm. And you're gonna give that a tug. And this is what you have. Got another unit on. Coming out of the side of this bead, going through the top like that. Pull that tight, then skip the 3mm bicone and go through that 4mm. Now you could try this with different sizes of beads. I've seen it done with seed beads using like 2 for 1 bead. So like I've seen it done where you would use 8 beads using 2 seed beads here, 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. But that's a whole nother that's a whole nother video. Pick up a 3mm, two 4mm, and you can also use, now these are pearls, you could also use fire polish, some check fire polish. And then to get this design, you're going to want to use a 3mm down here. So these are 3mm bicones, and I'll show you when the 4mm come in, but you're going to skip that bicone and sew right into the next. $4mm. As you can see, it's growing. Pick up a 3mm, 2 4mm. I'm sorry, did I say 2? I meant 3. It's always what you're going to have on your needle. Coming out of the side here, I'm going to go through the top of this side unit. Pull, you're going to skip that 3mm and sew right into the 4mm. Got another unit on. I'm going to pick up 3mm, 3 4mm, coming out of this side bead here, the side of this bottom bead, I should say, and then we're going to go through the top of this side bead. All right, then I'm going to skip that 3mm bicone and go right in to the next 4mm. So that's what you're going to do for the length of your bracelet. So I'm going to go off camera and do that, and then I'll be back to do the next steps. Okay, so I've got the length of my bracelet. For me, it's 6 inches, and then I leave another inch or so for the clasp. And I apologize, but I forgot to tell you we're going to need a couple of wire guards as well. So I've sewn all the way through here. Here is where the 11-O's are going to come in. Put a few of them through there. Your 11-O's and your wire guard. I'm going to pick up 2 11-O's. I can get them on my needle. A wire guard. Go up one side of the wire guard. And then you're going to go down the other side, keeping your thread inside the grooves right here. And then I'm going to pick up 2 more of my 11-O's. And sew through this bead like this. All right, and now I'm just going to go reinforce, go through that once more, and I'll be back. Okay, so I've reinforced the wire guard, and I'm coming out of this 4mm bead, and all we're going to do now is take 3mm and put them all the way down this side. So we're coming out of this 4mm. Just gonna sew directly into the next. Pick up a 4mm, or a 3mm, I'm sorry, from this 4mm to this 4mm, and sew in. Do a few more. Just sewing directly into that 4mm across. So now we're gonna have 3mm on both sides of the bracelet. Do one more, then I'll go off and finish and meet you on the other side. Okay, so just do that all the way down the length of your bracelet. Okay, so I went and put a 3mm bicone between each of the 4mm pearls on the other side. I went ahead and put the other side of the clasp on just like I did on the other side, this side. So we're ready now to embellish with 15/0s and 4mm bicones. And I did go ahead and sew in my tail thread, so that's out of the way. So I'm gonna pick up two 15/0s, a bicone, two 15/0s, and I positioned my thread to be coming out of the side of this first bead here. And I'm coming out of this side. I'm gonna turn my hand around and go through the other side of the bead directly across and pull. That sits those beads right on very nicely on this unit, and we're just going to do that all the way down. So two 15/0s, one 4mm bicone, two 15/0s, coming out of this, the side of this next bead here, we're going to go through the opposite side, this side of the bead directly across. And pull through, and that makes a real pretty embellishment down the middle of the bracelet. Pick up two 15/0s, a 4mm, two 15/0s, coming out of the side here, going to sew in the other side of the bead directly across. I'm just going to do that all the way down the length of the bracelet. I'll do one more. Coming out of this bead here, this side of it, we're going to go through the opposite side of the one directly across from it. Pick up 2 15-ohs. Not real crazy about this bead mat I'm using because it was a cheaper one from Amazon and it's just not as easy to pick up the beads. But we'll keep going. So I'm coming out of the side of this bead here. I'm gonna go into the opposite side of the bead directly across from it. Okay, I'm just going to do that all the way down the length of my bracelet, and then I'll come back and we'll put the clasp on. Okay, so I've gone and put a 4mm bicone with surrounded by 2 15-oh seed beads all the way down the length of my bracelet. And I'm really happy with the color story of this. And so I'm just going to show you, I'm coming out of this bead here. I'm going to sew through the next bead, tie a few half-hitch knots, and then burn my thread off. The half-hitch knot is just going right under the thread bridge like that. Then I'll just sew down a few more. Tie another half-hitch knot. I'll do one more. Then I'll burn my thread off and we will put the rest of the clasp on. Grab right under that thread bridge. And I'm just going to take my thread burner, burn that off. Being careful not to get any of the other threads so it doesn't come unraveled. All right, so here is the bracelet almost done. We're going to put the extender chain. So I'm going to use a jump ring and an extender chain for one side. Take my pliers, pick up the jump ring, open up that jump ring like that. Take my extender chain, hook it on, and then go through the wire guard. Now I'm going to take the other jump ring along with my lobster claw. Open up the jump ring. Put on the lobster claw. Pull that through. Close up the jump ring. Now you could stop there. This makes a cute little bracelet with an extender chain. But I'm going to put I think I'm going to use this charm just for a little extra bling. I'm just going to put it on the extender chain so that it hangs down. When you're wearing the bracelet. You can put it anywhere along the extender chain. I'm just going to grab it on the second chain there. Make sure your jump ring is closed tightly. And there is our bracelet. Okay, so here it is on. And then when you flip it over, you got a little charm there. So I hope you enjoyed learning how to do modified right angle weave. If you already know, let me know, put that in the comments. And if you're gonna make this bracelet, what colors are you gonna use? Our next tutorial, a viewer I did a short on these earrings that I made, where I just kind of made a mix of delica beads. And then this is a brick stitch. And I just did a little short on that, and I had one viewer who wanted me to do a tutorial, so I'm gonna do a tutorial on this. I might use a different mix. I'll show you how I mix my beads and choose my colors for a mix that I like. And so yeah, that's coming up. So again, thanks for joining me today. If you would like to get notified of any time I upload a new video, please subscribe and hit that bell. There is no charge, absolutely free to subscribe. And I will see you on the next video.